I'm calling the meeting of the Recreation and Parks Commission to order at 6:02 on April 1st, 2026. Somebody want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today? Thank you.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We humbly acknowledge that we sit within the unceded traditional ancestral homes of the Chochenyo and Ohlone people who have occupied and cared for this land since a distance prior to the founding of the city of Richmond, prior to California's statement, and for centuries before the establishment of the United States. As the Recreation and Parks Commission, we strive to steward the land in a way that honors its past, current, and future inhabitants and takes seriously the responsibilities of its continued care. The mission of the commission is to advise the city council and city staff to provide excellent parks and recreation facilities and to preserve open space and to provide programs that enrich, educate, and serve the needs of the diversity of the residents of Richmond. All right.
Okay, we'll take roll. Chair Mignoni?
Here.
Vice Chair Torres?
Here.
Secretary Kostrolnik? Here. Treasurer Warren?
Here.
Commissioner Gomez?
Here.
Commissioner Rogers?
Here.
Commissioner Ronnie?
Here.
And Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Thank you.
Individuals in the audience may speak for 2 minutes as follows. For items not on the agenda, staff will recognize each speaker for open forum. For agenda items, staff will call on each speaker after the item is introduced. Please complete a speaker card and provide it to the city staff. All communications during this meeting is conducted with courtesy and respect, and all speakers will be advised time is up and will be asked politely to end their time. The order in which items will be heard may be adjusted by commission vote at this time. In addition, items may be removed from or placed on the consent calendar at this time. I don't think we have any items other than the agenda. Anybody wish to move anything on the calendar? Sorry. If not, we can keep it as is and move forward. Whoop.
I have a question. How do we usually acknowledge like letters and emails that get sent in? How do we acknowledge that usually in the minutes?
Well, I can tell you that I send them all to you when we receive letters, and they are posted as public comments on the city's website, along
Okay.
with the minutes itself. So they were actually already posted from last meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes are approved. So do we have anyone for open forum?
We received one speaker card for Mr. Cordell Hendler. You'll have 2 minutes to speak, Cordell.
So, good evening, Chair Mignoni,
Commissioners. For the record, I am Cordell Handler, and I have some wonderful news to share with you all. But first, I would like to welcome Vivian to this little group. So we're almost at 4 commissions. So welcome, Vivian. So I do have some updates. So I did attend the youth council meeting about a week and a half ago, and I have encouraged them to fill the remaining 2 slots. So I will be going back to them later this month. So, because my plan is I'm trying to get this on the council's agenda either next month or June. So that's one. But the second good news is I would like to invite everyone to the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference on July 9th. It'll be hosted by the city of San Pablo. Location is to be determined. So I'll get more information by June. And the tickets are only $80 a person. That includes dinner, drink, and dessert. So that should be a lot of fun. So let me reiterate my comments from last month. So I have brought up the issues about loitering in the parks because as someone who frequently uses the parks, it is a concern because I've seen people in the parks, like, after a certain time, and it's a concern because I was just in a conversation with El Cerrito, and they have signage in front of their parks saying the following, that nobody is permitted there after a certain time. So I'm thinking, like, if El Cerrito can have some signage there, we need to have ours, like, in multi-language because we are a diverse community. So I just want to put that out there, to consider. So I'll just leave it at that.
Anyone else?
That's our last speaker.
Okay. The next Recreation and Parks Commission meeting will be on May 6th, 2026. We currently have $413.08 in the commission trust account. We have a membership change, or we have a new member joining us today. Welcome to Vivian Gomez, who was appointed on March 24th, 2026. And before we talk to Vivian, I just want one announcement. If anyone, any commissioner is feeling ill the day of or before a meeting, please email Christine, Rajana, and myself so that we're all in the loop, because if one of us is sick or something or not looking at their emails, we won't know. So it's to our advantage if you can let us all know. Thank you very much. Welcome, Vivian.
Thank you so much.
What made you decide to join our commission?
I've been involved with baseball with my kids through Lucas Park and Shields Reed Community Center as well. Now I am part of the board of commissions from San Pablo Baseball, so our neighboring city. Really, I'm here to see how I can serve better our community. I know our parks, there's many parks around here, but what I keep running into or I keep hearing is the availability to baseball teams, right? Loitering, homelessness around different parks. So I know city can do a part, but as well, the community itself can do some input as well.
Thank you. I'm Jen Mignoni, I'm the chair. And I got on the commission because they didn't have enough people to have a quorum. So, and I wanted to come because there's all these things happening with different parks in the area. I was born and raised in Richmond. I know it pretty much like the back of my hand. There's a few things that I don't know, but I know most of it. And, getting out here and seeing what's going on in the parks and trying to make sure that, they're being used correctly. We had an issue for the longest time at Wendell Park where we were having a unauthorized or unpermitted soccer tournament going on, that they were, making money in the whole thing. And it wouldn't be so bad, but they had loudspeakers out there. They'd start at 7 in the morning and they'd go till 7 at night. And the neighbors started to get a little bit upset about the whole thing. And then I went down there one day after someone had contacted me, and there was 3 RPD officers there, and they had basically said, disperse, and they all went away. So it got quiet after that, and now with the fence around the park, they had no place for them to go. It's a big mess over there, so they can't do anything. So it's, just little things like that, trying to, hopefully make it better for everything else. I'm also the president of my neighborhood council, so people just, come and tell me everything anyway, so whether I want to know it or not. Samantha, would you like to introduce your turn?
Sure. I'm Samantha Torres. I'm the vice chair of the commission. Vivian and I know each other from our youth sports organizing, so I pushed her a little bit. Hey, I think you'd be great for this. I'm really glad you're here. Welcome. I joined the commission to bring a voice for youth sports. I'm a parent of young children and who play sports, and I really wanted to continue the programming and especially the care and maintenance of our sports facilities, specifically soccer, but I'm also involved with pickleball, and obviously with baseball. I've gotten dirty with San Pablo baseball, shoveling sand out and to get your fields ready for spring. So I just want, like all of us here, we just all really want to make sure that the community has good access to recreation, and so welcome.
Secretary Jennifer, Commissioner, would you like to introduce yourself and talk?
Going. Hello, everybody. I too joined this commission because I care about communities. I care about our parks. I think everybody should have access to a space that is clean and it's supported by the city. Mostly because, I don't know, parks have always meant something to me since I was a kid, but also I have 2 kids and we've done so many things. I live close to Booker T, and I'm always going to say how lovely Booker T is for multiple reasons. But I also have a nonprofit, and we get donated bikes, we fix them, and we donate them out to the community. And we do this, and we like to have events, and we like to do certain things, but also with the goal of having kids be more active. And for me, seeing kids in the park playing baseball, playing soccer, like just playing basketball with their parents, it's everything, So that's why I joined. Thank you.
Commissioner Warren, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Vivian. Thanks for joining us. I share the same sentiments as the rest of the commissioners that have spoken already. For me, we're a very outdoors family. My family, we're always biking, going to the parks. We use a lot of the facilities too. For me, my son has special needs, so we look at sort of the activities and the accessibility through a little bit of a different lens. In another life, I used to work in city planning, so getting back into this is, it's a nice way to give back. Welcome.
Commissioner Rogers, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, welcome aboard. Yeah, I'm Jake Rogers. I grew up in Richmond and born and raised, and then I moved away, but then came back and have always just enjoyed getting involved in things. And I met the vice mayor who said they didn't have a quorum, so similar to Jan, and I was looking for something to do and get involved in and learn more about what's happening in the city, figure out how I can help with things, and but also very big believer in parks as an important place for people to gather. And I think that's only being seen more and more with how like bowling alleys and things like that are shutting down. Parks are becoming kind of a place where communities get together and things happen. So, and then all the other things we provide as a city through our recreations department is also fantastic. So I'm learning more about that side, I feel like, while I've been here, but it's been a good journey so far.
Commissioner Ronnie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Welcome, Commissioner. I'm Alex Inderoni, and I am the next newest member of the board, of the commission, so welcome. And yeah, I would echo a lot of the similar sentiments that have been expressed. Wanted to achieve a quorum, love the parks, love youth sports, so happy you're here.
And last but not least, Commissioner Smith.
Hello, I introduced myself a little earlier. Welcome, welcome. I guess technically I have the most seniority on this commission, and I was asked by the president of my neighborhood council, as well as the then president or chair of the commission, because they saw the different work that I've been doing in the community with different organizations. I also have a very soft spot for the environment. I've been working at East Bay Mud since '92, and they have seen me participate in different events around here through them. So they said, well, wait a minute, you live here. We could use your point of view on the commission. And so I found out that I was available on the days that they met. Did a little bit of research and said, okay, yeah, I'll give this a roll. And have learned a whole lot more than I would have anticipated when it comes down to the budget for the city. I also came into this with a full understanding that we are an advisory committee. We basically receive information from the community and figure out, along with staff, how things can work better and well for all parties involved. Every decision that I've made has been based on if the community that's being directly impacted are on board. And if it's something that they're not on board with, but it can be beneficial, we talk it out. But it's been a wonderful experience so far, and I hope that you have a good experience here as well. It's no bed of roses, or at least no bed of rose petals, because there's a few thorns here and there. But it's a good commission to be on, and we've got great staff who work with us. Some of the staff is newer, but I can tell already that they really know what they're talking about, and if they need to look something up, they do. So please feel free to ask questions. You can ask questions of me, you can ask questions of staff, and welcome.
Also, Commissioner Smith failed to mention that she was elected recently in 2024. Is it already 2024? She was elected to the board of directors of the East Bay Mud. So she's undervaluing her role and what she's accomplished, and her service to this commission just really speaks to that continued service. So I wanted to highlight we have an elected among us.
Well, as time goes on, if you have any questions, just, reach out to us and let us know what we can do to help you. We've already approved the minutes from March 4th, 2026. So it's department reports. We'll start with Public Works Department, Jason Lacey, Superintendent of Parks and Landscaping.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners, and warm welcome to new Commissioner Gomez. So we're going to do our normal two-pronged approach. I'm going to give a little bit of high level, not really a lot of updates divisional wise. We did onboard our new Parks Supervisor, Derek Treya. He's joining us from the city of Antioch. He brings a wealth of knowledge. He's going to be overseeing operations in Marina Bay. hopefully in the next couple of weeks, once he gets, or months, when he gets his bearings, we'll bring him here and we'll be able to put a face with his name, and you guys will get to meet him. With that, I'd like to introduce Darren Fitzpatrick. He is part of the, I'll let him introduce himself. He does really well talking about himself, so we'll let him do his thing.
Yeah, good evening, Commissioners. Darren Fitzpatrick, I'm the Assistant Deputy Director for Public Works for Operations and Maintenance. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary with the City of Richmond on March 17th. So it has been an amazing experience so far. I have a little over 26 years of Public Works experience. This is the 3rd city that I've worked for. In a little more background, in February of 2026, the Director of Public Works expanded my role to oversee all 5 units within operations and maintenance. So now that includes parks, which is why I'm here, as well as abatement, streets, facilities, and fleet. So I'm looking forward to working and getting to know everyone, and thanks for having me. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. I can't speak highly enough about Darren, and it's not just because he's my boss, but being part of the newly assembled team. Alex has been here a year and a half-ish. I was started just before Darren did. Anything I've asked for in support, he's gone to bat and really just made things happen. And so I can't speak enough about just the team that's been assembled in Public Works. The results, you guys are going to start to see them, but trust me, behind the scenes, we are putting in a lot of work, a lot of program changing. We're shining the light in all the dark places. So we're really getting a lot of stuff done. The support from you folks, that network that you guys have, the different lenses that you see, the different perspectives, really means a lot to us. We can't operate parks and landscaping in a vacuum unless we hear and participate with you guys. It's super critical for us. So I just wanted to share that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Alex to give a little bit more detailed report.
All right, good evening, everyone. So parks crews continued consistent maintenance and infrastructure improvements and vegetation management across city parks and facilities. Crews advance ongoing improvements at Booker T. Anderson, including removal of old fencing and backstop materials, installation and painting of new backstop boards. As you can see in the picture shown, vegetation management and cleanup efforts remain a priority system-wide. Park staff continue to improve public spaces through irrigation and landscape care, including mulching at Civic Center Plaza, preparation for backflow replacement at Miraflores Park, and ongoing turf edging and maintenance at key park locations. Facility infrastructure improvements, including installation of baseball equipment container at Tiller Park, installation of motion sensor lighting over at Nickel Park. If anybody remembers Mr. Hurlbutt coming through, so far the light seems to be working. Repainting of recreational amenities such as the Foursquare courts at May Valley Community Center, and repairs including gate repairs at Berg Park and playground improvements at Parchester. Tree maintenance and corridor work included pruning along the Richmond Greenway and trimming of redwood trees at Kennedy Center to maintain safety and visibility. At Humboldt, the planting has been finished and fencing has been new fencing has been installed at the park. Belding Garcia has new fence fabric around most of the perimeter, and there also were at Nevin fence repairs were made there. So overall work efforts reflect a continued focus on improving park infrastructure, maintaining safe and clean public spaces, and preparing facilities for increased seasonal use. A couple little updates here. So we are going to be installing a new irrigation clock here at City Hall in hopes to be able to take that and start implementing that out into the parks to improve efficiency. Our on-call general contractors are coming online to improve efficiency and flexibility with park projects. Infield mix for baseball and softball fields will start to be added. I do want to note that the main install and focus will be over the fall and winter. In the process of providing message boards at Humphrey and Lucas Parks, and the event season is upon us here. So our main focus is going to be weed management and also site preparation for those events. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So Chair, that concludes our presentation and our report. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Do we have any questions from anyone?
I'll start. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hey, so about the solar light at the tennis courts, what is that light for?
So there has been an individual using that area as a restroom for what I was told about more than 5 years. So part of the plan to try to deter that person from doing that was to overplant in the area, and then we installed a little motion detective solar light to hopefully disperse them.
Okay, so it wasn't a repair, it was a new light. And it's not for sports use.
No.
So how long was it in the plans to put in this light? Like, how many years did it take for this project to be approved and funded and all that?
Well, this light cost $200, so it wasn't like a big cost.
Okay. I'm just trying to draw comparisons to the lighting issues at BTA. Because we did talk about this at the last meeting. We had pickleball people come, explain that they are waiting on grant money from 2024 to be able to fix the lights at BTA. And the lights at BTA don't work at all. But it seems like a highly funded, not fully funded, a highly funded lighting project at BTA isn't being prioritized in the way that a light for an individual who likes to make pee-pee behind the tennis courts is. So I just wanted to know how we're prioritizing. I know we have a lot of lighting issues. I know. And I see it, and it makes me so happy to see these lights getting switched out. I'm just wondering how we're prioritizing things, especially when this project they received the funding in 2024. So I'm putting it out there that I don't know. I still haven't heard if there's been an expected date to even begin the BTA light repairs. I know that there's, again, I appreciate the long laundry list of work that you have to do, but it seems like we can't, on the one hand, say, well, it's too complicated, it's too difficult, we have too many projects, and then simply say, oh, well, there's someone making pee-pee in this tennis courts, and we're gonna put in a quick light. Like, these are the kind of inconsistencies that really complicate this process, because while I can appreciate that it's a small $200 project, East Bay Pickleball Association, there's nonprofit that got a grant for a specific project, they haven't been funded, right? They haven't gotten that money since 2024.
So I can answer that question for you. I don't want to get confused between a very small operational installation that didn't include any type of design or preparation. It was something that we were able to do fairly quickly. As far as the BTA lights, we're talking about the pickleball, the courts there. So in early February, I believe, City Council appropriated $2.9-ish million for solar lighting, and the BTA pickleball courts are part of that. So I submitted 12 locations for $3 million, and BTA, the lighting was part of that package that I submitted. Of those 12 projects, we then prioritized those 12 that took into account pedestrian safety, neighborhood safety, vehicular safety, all those things. And BTA will get done. It's one of those 12, but it was in our lower 4 bracket of priority. So we still plan to have those first 8 projects. I don't know if you've driven down Carlson. Carlson is now fully illuminated, and it is beautiful. We're finishing Carlson, and Seacliff Drive is location number 2. Again, high impact area. Those first 8 will be completed prior to June 1st. All 8 of those major projects, and then the remaining 4, our plan is to have those done in quarter 1, 2 of next fiscal year. So by, let's say, June of next year, all of those will be done with additional sites, pending more funding from city council. So that's where we're at with BTA.
You said June of next year?
Once we get through the first 12, we have even more projects coming online that completion is for June of next year.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Another question, I see that you had repaired the fencing at Garcia Park. I had noticed, and I'm only commenting on this because I went through a permitting process to put up banners on public property, and it's not fun or easy or whatever. And yet, lots of, especially in the soccer community, are putting up these unauthorized banners all over the place. I've seen them at, but Garcia Park was one I can think of. I've seen them at
There's one at Berg.
Berg, right? And, you know, I take seriously that I have a permit, you know, I go by every day, make sure my banners are put up, they're not vandalized or ripped or falling down or whatever, and some of these banners are in bad shape at these parks. So I'm wondering, is staff is directed to remove these signs? No?
So staff that's doing maintenance in the park, they have no idea whether a banner is permitted or not. If you guys know, or if you specifically know a banner is not permitted or you want to question it, you can reach out to our code enforcement folks, and if they will either take care of it themselves or they can ask us, they can give us specifics. This banner, this sign is not permitted to be there. Please remove it and store it so that, you know, the organization, whoever, can come pick it up from us. So we wouldn't know if it's permitted or not, so we don't just pull signs down. But if it's reported through code enforcement, then we can take action if we're directed to.
Do we get a lot of approved permits to put up signs in parks? Is that a thing?
We don't personally do that.
Okay.
We don't have any say in who gets permitted
Okay.
or what's installed.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, that's something we should ask, just because club soccer tryouts are coming out, and in my own club, they're like, we need to put up signs, all the other clubs are doing it, and I'm like, come on, like, I know just because everybody does it, people think it's okay to do it, but if we're not enforcing it either, then is it really not allowed? That, you know, if we're not gonna do anything about it anyways, is it not permitted? I don't know. That was it, thank you.
Do we have any other? Go ahead.
So I noticed the graffiti abatement at Nickel Skate Park. I was there recently and I saw some. I'm just wondering, how consistent is that need to, you know, to paint over the graffiti at that location?
Currently, most of the time when we do the paint over is largely when events are happening, so we'll come through and paint over the graffiti there. That's the focus of our graffiti removal operations there.
I assume then that that was in advance of the egg hunt over the past weekend? Was that for that event then?
I know we've had a couple ones where we've done like opening day for baseball. They come through in the parade. We do that there. If it was done here prior to this last week, it would have been done through abatement, and they would have come through and painted over it.
And also, if any of the graffiti is obscene or, you know, that type of situation, then it'll be abated right away. Yeah, if it's normal, I guess normal graffiti, then it's scheduled within, you know, our workflow.
Thank you.
Well, I might as well ask, how's Wendell coming along, other than they make a lot of noise over there?
The last update I got from Darcy on the CIP projects is everything's moving along really well.
Yeah, Wendell and Borman are moving along on schedule. There are a few change orders that are being discussed for some additional items from different parking things, and I'm working on some additional lighting packages to maybe improve lighting around those facilities. So there are additional things in the works, but overall they're moving along well.
Now, you know the lights that are on the inside of, on the street, on the telephone poles. We did that before 2020. And we put them up there, the city put them up there. But it took us forever to get them finally lit. But the whole idea was because that park is so dark, if anything was happening in there, we'd have, we've heard people screaming in there and all kinds of things, but you don't know what's going on in there. And people had a really bad habit of letting their dogs loose in there in the middle, in the evening hours. And, people don't realize that maybe your dog likes other dogs, but other dogs might not like your dog. And I mean, I've heard, watched people just go in broad daylight, go in there and just let their dogs run in there. And I'm like, there's another dog in there. You better pay attention. And all of a sudden you're, and I hope somebody didn't like somebody. So I am looking forward to that not being happening quite so easily nowadays. I know it's one of our signs we're going to have, right?
Speaking of Borman, how far along are we in our timeline for actually being able to be open again? Because this was proposition money, and we discovered that I guess it wasn't sequed accurately. So where do we stand?
I don't know if Jason has a more up-to-date timeline as I see him shuffle through things. I don't have that information with me. I can get it, we can provide that, but I don't have the timeline in front of me right now.
I would have to double check on my last update from Darcy, but I believe the target was late summer, I believe, and we're still on target.
Late summer as in late August?
Late summer. When we talk CIP projects, like, we can't hardline really because of the schedule. There's so many variables, weather being one of them, parts availability, change orders, site conditions. So the best, I think what Darcy had given me was just late summer, and that we're still on target for completion. There's no big delays right now.
Okay, all right. I won't turn the screws.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Jake.
I apologize for my ignorance. CIP, is that capital improvement? All right, cool, just making sure. And then I did have a different question. Where are we at with what's the status on the parks assessment? Have we talked about that? No?
That project is being handled by Tawfiq Halabi, and so I would need to reach out to him, and I can report back at our next meeting.
Maybe you could have Tawfiq come next meeting.
Excuse me?
Maybe you could have Tawfiq come next meeting if he's available.
Most certainly, we can put a request in and ask him to
we
come
can
give
do
an
this,
update.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that all of the inspections of the parks are complete. We are going to begin reviewing all of those documents internally. I'm also fairly certain that our consultant has moved on to facilities, which means they are done with the parks. So once we compile all that and put it together in a report, then we'll be able to report out more accurately.
What's your best guess on a timeline for that?
It's a lot of information.
Which is why I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say it's probably going to be a month or two.
Okay.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
Okay.
So is this going to be used towards the parks master plan? Is that being discussed? Because we're due for another one in 2030, right?
Yeah, so the Parks Master Plan has been discussed as a direction that is not a primary focus right now with all the other items that are going on. But yes, all all the documentation that we're currently building either through our staff or through outside consultants, that will all play a role in updating the Parks Master Plan.
Can I ask, sorry, I have a lot of curiosities about the master plan. I tried to spend some time actually looking at it finally, and I was kind of shocked at how old it was. So, but you said it's slated for 2030?
It's every 20 years?
Is that just, who's that decided by? Because 20 years seems like a crazy amount of time.
So that would be city council's discretion of when they update that typically, and I'll just air quote, typically, master plans, park master plans are cycled every 10 years, even with an update, and that cycles with census. So census data, as soon as that is collected and presented, then park master plan updates would follow that information.
Is there a way for us to consider doing it sooner? Is there a process by which we could consider that?
I would need to ask if that would be something, I think as a commission, that is something that they could, as a group, as a body, make the recommendation to council, if that's what you guys so chose.
Yeah, I think it would be something we'd have to discuss because knowing city council, we want to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row and saying, this is the reasons why we need to move forward on it. I know we did the, what is it, the greening master plan, and that's, 15 years old now? Yeah, we did that, and, and that was supposed to count every tree, and, how many trees do you know of that are no longer there, that were there, kind of thing. So, yeah, those kind of things, and they're important because it helps to do with our, our climate, how we, climate works and everything. So they are important things. We just have to really kind of sit down and kind of put things together on what would work the best.
Do we want to discuss at the end of the meeting whether we want to add that to the agenda for our next meeting?
We can do that, yes.
Because I'm sure that's a meaty topic, and I don't want to take over having a master plan discussion while we're mid-talking these other things.
We've talked about this the last year. It's been brought up, but it hasn't been agendized. And I think part of it was just, at least now we have an inventory, right? At least we have some data to work with. And so I think this might be a good time to start planning on when we expect to move forward with some sort of master plan, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions? Okay. It's now time for Community Services, Recreation to give their report.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ranjana Maharaj, Deputy Director for Community Services Recreation. I am here with several staff members from Recreation. Sitting next to me is Aaron Samano from the Shields Street Community Center. So as you have noticed, every time we come back to our meetings, we've been bringing a staff person from a community center so they can talk about their programs, and then you get to know them. And hopefully when you visit the sites, they'll recognize you and you can have a discussion. So I'll give Erin a chance to talk about her programs at Shields Street, and then I'll continue on with the other presentations.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erin
But right quick, this is going to bother me. I'll be distracted. Is this a new thing for children to have their tongues sticking out? I mean, is that the funny face that they make these days?
I don't know, kids. I try to, ask staff to provide clean pictures, but sometimes it's hard to control them when they are in a group. And so it doesn't go out anywhere. It's just sharing with you. For all our marketing materials, we make sure all the pictures look nice and clean. So Erin can explain that a little bit, maybe. That's her kids from her
Okay.
site.
Right, okay, thanks. I mean, I'm not offended, I'm just like, wow, okay, that's different.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erin Samano, and I serve as the Recreation Program Coordinator at Chills Reed Community Center. As many as you are aware, Chills Reed Community Park has been undergoing renovations for an extended period. During this time, I prioritize identifying opportunities within the community to ensure we continue providing enriching and meaningful experiences for our Achieve After-School program participants. Student support structures as well. Students are safely escorted from school to the Chills Reed Community Center through our structured walking school bus program. This approach ensures both student safety and continued engagement during the transition from school to program activities. To sustain high-quality programming, we established partnership and collaborations with several local organizations, including Corinne Saint Senior and Family Community Center, Community Housing Development Corporation, Urban TILF, Richmond Art Center, Richmond Library/Bay Area Association Tutoring Program, West Contra Costa County Library, Tandem Program, Watershed Program, White Pony, which is a community food distribution services every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Through these collaborations, we have been able to maintain strong programming to continue offering valuable experiences for our youth and families despite the temporary limitations for our facility. Ongoing programs at Chills Reed, in addition, Chills Reed Community Program Center continues to provide wellness and enrichment opportunities for the community, including Tiny Heroes, Wednesday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Zumba/Way of Life, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Open Gym Access, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you. And this is some of the pictures with the organizations that I mentioned. As you see here, Urban Teal, we had some program activities going on in the community. It's called as a little farm as well. We go, we pick up the vegetables, fruit and vegetables, and we make salads and we eat with everybody together. We do have a community garden on First Street and Market. The Corinne Saint Senior Family Community Center. We go, we do a lesson plan, and we do activities with the kids. And we also do community cleanups around our park. Thank you. Any questions?
That last picture, you guys recognize her?
Miss Vivian, she's one of our, I'm one of the managers for the baseball teams in the community. And right now, because our park is closed, so we practice at Davis Park. So that's how Miss Vivian became part of the Davis Park in order for us to be able to use the park, because we don't have a baseball field at Chills Reed right now. So this is, if you see, there's a family thing going on here. Thank you. No questions? Perfect.
Erin, thank you so much for being here and for sharing this. I cannot imagine what it's like, because I've coached pickleball at Shields Reed, so I know how many kids are there, what, the activity, the energy. I cannot imagine running the programs that you run without a full playground, without a field. So props to you and your staff for creating those partnerships, for doing what you got to do to get those kids active and doing safe activities after school. Shields Reed is super important to the North Richmond community, and so thank you for that. Yeah, I can't imagine. Is the new playground area open for you yet?
No, it's not.
Every time I drive by, I'm like, I'm sure the kids are feeling that kind of anxiety too. Yeah, what are your plans for when all that stuff's opened up? Like, are we gonna have a big party? Like, what's gonna happen?
July 11th, we're gonna have our grand opening. It's gonna start at 9 a.m. We're gonna have the Jazz Music Festival as well, the grand opening. And the City of Richmond staff, they will be there to do the ribbon cutting. Yes.
This is the playground and the field, or just the playground?
I believe July 11th should be the whole park,
Everything?
because they had talked about before that they were gonna do a soft opening, but they canceled that. They said no, because so my guess at this point is the whole park, but I might not be right. But,
Thank you. That's so
there is gonna be.
exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
I have a question. I think it more for you, Regina.
Oh.
No, it's about White Pony. Do they come to like, do they go to Nevin Center and other community centers?
No, just Shields Reed.
Just Shields Reed?
And that's a relationship that Erin started with them. Where do they show up, Erin? They did an event with us at the rec complex some years ago. It was
I
a
was there for
huge
that.
success. And so, but they've been very consistent with, in the Shields Reed community.
That's great.
It's, Shields Reed is every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
But where else?
Yeah, no, that's,
I know Aberti Elementary School during school time. And if anybody's interested, they're always looking for different places where to bring them. So if anybody interested, let me know, and we'll make that connection.
thank you. That'd be great, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to see another clothing giveaway that, like we did
At the rec.
at the rec center. Man, it was quite a while ago. Well, Rochelle
Yeah.
was still here, so I tell you, it's been a while.
Yes, yeah.
But, yeah.
It was a lot of work with them, though.
I can
So,
imagine.
no, it's a great idea. Maybe we can definitely bring them back for the clothing giveaway. Thank you. All right, thank you again, Erin. Moving on for some of the reports of things that have happened and things that are coming up. We just held the Snowball Scholarship Reception hosted by the Benevolent Foundation, honoring 14 of our scholarship recipients on March 21st. And this is something that Marin and Gary have been hosting for the last few years. And Marin and Gary have also been collecting money received through their foundation, which is very minimal money, but most of the contribution does come from Marin and Gary. And they don't want any of the candidates to be turned away, so they make sure everybody receives something. And it's a nice reception held, and families of the candidates are there as well. The mayor sometimes is there, sometimes he's not, but if he's not there, he always sends somebody in during his absence. And then DPRC, if you're not aware, we do also serve the special needs population. It's a small community center on Barrett Avenue. The staff are wonderful, well-trained to handle the clientele they have. And there are several events that they host throughout the year. And this is one of their big events. We have also hosted this in our facility at the rec complex, where other agencies have come in and participants from other areas have come in. And this is a day where they celebrate with music and other festivities on this particular day. And then, of course, we mentioned the egg hunt earlier. We held 2 events last Saturday, the egg hunt and the floating egg hunt. And we had great weather, great attendance. A lot of people showed up at the egg hunt. It was interesting that every time staff would say, well, just get ready. The moment they hear the word ready, they just charge into the arena. And so we were telling Councilmember Zepeda not to mention the word ready. So he did say a few words to the participants, and then we both also followed all the way to the Richmond Swim Center, That too was a very nice event, and we hung around for a little bit and then went into other things. I don't know if you were aware, there was a Taste of Richmond event at the Richmond Auditorium, so some people were headed down there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. Coming up, we have the Senior Information Health Fair on May 20th. This is something that's open for older adults. I don't want to call it seniors, but it's older adults. A lot of great information being held at the Richmond Auditorium, and hopefully it will be another success this year. Coming up for the youth, Spring Break Camp, April 6th through April 10th. I'm not sure what registration looks like. It's been open. No, it was open. So I thought the date was wrong, but no. So yeah, it's coming up, and hopefully we'll also serve a lot of kids through this program again. Next slide, thank you. This was presented last month as well. It is happening this Saturday, April 4th. Hopefully the weather will be nice. We'll have it at Nickel Park. It is with Zumba and color. This is an event of color play, and hopefully you'll be able to attend. It's a fun event. And then after that, we'll have the Parks RX Day. And on April 25th, we've been having this for several years now. It's very successful. A lot of people are learning about it and coming out. You can see this is a picture from last year. And that's ends all the events. So I would like to call upon one of our staff members from the Richmond, from the registration office, Tiffany Jenkins. At the last meeting, I believe Commissioner Roney had asked about the registration for pickleball and tennis courts. So we wanted to present that information to you to show you how that's done. And what I'd like to add to that is we are in the process of updating our software system. I don't know if you're aware, so we use ActiveNet. And we've been going through some meetings with them and trying to update it to bring in more efficiency for public and for staff so that we can also provide additional services and more efficient services to the public. So Tiffany, take it away.
Sorry, you said it was ActiveNet?
ActiveNet, yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Jenkins. I am relatively new to the city of Richmond. I'm an administrative assistant in the for the Community Services Recreation, and I typically work out of the Richmond Recreation Complex. My staff and I are responsible for managing reservations and registrations and making sure that everything on the back end as far as collecting data and information about the activities that we put on is organized and done within the policies. Today, I wanted to present some information about our court reservations for pickleball and for tennis. Just this one. This one? Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start by giving a quick overview about our pickleball reservations. The main one that we have that's available to register for right now through ActiveNet would be Booker T. Anderson Community Center. The availability is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as Saturday. There's two availabilities on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 2 p.m. to dusk, so it's available all day on Saturdays. There's a total of 6 courts. There's 2 with nets and 2 without. The way that that reservation can be made would be for a single day online, and you can do it in person as well. There's also long-term and multi-day pickleball reservations as well. The rate is $16 per hour, and if you do a long-term reservation, it would include an application fee as well. There's also the option to do drop-in pickleball at Richmond Rec Complex Gym, and that is $7 per day. So the first step, it's pretty simple to do the pickleball registration online. We've recently created some activities so it would be easier for the public to access the pickleball courts. The first step would be for them to register for the activities on our ActiveNet site. They would be able to select which one they wanted. They search for the pickleball, and then it'll give a result of about the 6 different courts that you can reserve at Booker T. Anderson. Then you would enroll in the desired court, and you would have to have an ActiveNet account, which would help us to make sure we have all the reservation and registration information about who is reserving the facilities and make sure that liability is taken care of. Then the person would complete the transaction online and receive a confirmation email. It's just as simple as that. They can also do the same process in person. It's pretty much the same thing, except they would submit a written, filled-in registration form at our desk, and then the staff would run through the online process through ActiveNet on the admin side, and then the customer would receive their receipt and confirmation and be able to use the facilities and courts during their allotted time. And the next part I'd like to review is our tennis court. Our tennis courts. We do have 20 reservable locations. I have listed several here. We have our BTA tennis and pickleball courts. They're kind of together. There's Belden Garcia tennis court and many others. Nickel courts also include the tennis courts as well. They're kind of, you can do both activities in that location. And the reservation process for tennis courts is a little bit more involved at the moment. We're currently working on making a little bit more accessible, just like the pickleball, but at this time, it is treated like a complete reservation. So the person that would like to reserve a tennis court would have to complete a facility application, which they can download online or pick up from our front office. And they can submit it via email or in person. Then the application is processed and we do follow-up, and then we receive the deposit. There is a complete list of rental procedures, and we usually do include that for them to have specific details about each step. And I have included that on this slide here. So if anybody had questions, we can kind of go through some of those steps. And then I also wanted to address, in general, if somebody wanted to also do pickleball long-term reservations, it would follow the same process as I just described for tennis. And that is it. If there's any questions.
Thank you. A little clarification. I saw earlier under drop-in for pickleball. Is that for indoor or outdoor or both?
That would be for indoor at our recreation complex gym.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for this. I wish that Darlene was also here, so we would have that discussion live. But it seemed like when this was brought up last time, she brought up the form. She passed around the form, and we had run out of time to discuss it. But I think she was referring to the tennis court form in that case, which was something you have to print out and sign and hand in. I recall a lot of the public comments were around desiring an online system for pickleball, which surprises me because there is one, apparently. And as a user, I saw the tennis court one myself. So if you have seen those public comments from last time. It sounds like, according to this, that those issues, those concerns would be resolved, that there is currently a system to reserve the court at BTA. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Thank you.
May I add to that? Darlene was provided that information last year and before she went away. So that information was shared with them, but nobody ever from the pickleball group came forward to reserve. If they came by to do drop-in pickleball at the rec gym, then they're the only ones who went through our process. Because we have a waiver that they sign online, and this is what we are working towards for other facilities, where somebody could check, availability and do simple reservations through our online system. So that's what I mean when I'm saying we are trying to update our system. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a follow-up then. I would like to ask about the overall system, but do you have further slides related to that as well? I guess I just wanted to know where in the process you are for the overall system, and maybe if you have a rough time frame.
Right, we just started.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've been so short-staffed in a sense to have a dedicated person to, process all the updates that need to go with our system. We've had this for a while, but we haven't had a staff dedicated to updating on time and keeping up with whatever new items were coming out. So we are driven this time to make sure that happens. And we had our first meeting last week with the vendor, and they identified quite a few things for us to do, a lot of homework for us. And so, in trying to, we have a good team right now with Tiffany and the other staff, it's a good team, and we are trying to get as much help as possible. And in case you didn't know, the city's IT department does not support us. We basically have to manage our own system. So we are learning as we are going, but the consultants are really helpful. So it will be a little while before we clean it up and bring it up to speed, but little by little, we'll be there.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to hear about this. My last question is, since we have this system for reserving, and we had this request to convert the combo tennis pickleball courts into just pickleball. This is just the community request. Can we look at the data to see how many people are reserving or using the space for tennis versus pickleball, so we at least know how the users would be affected by that decision?
Most definitely. That's one of the things we're asking the consultants to help us with, is to get data that we need so we can actually use that to ask for support, funding support from council. And so we realize there are so many different reports, so many different ways of pulling that information, which we currently don't have. So we have to spend a little amount of money to get what we are looking at. So hopefully, once we're done through all the training and the updates, we can assess where we are and to see if that's what we have enough of what we need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciated you noting the part about how IT doesn't help you, because I was wondering if that was something that would be possible. The consultants that you guys are talking to, it seems like there would be, obviously you need budget to do this, but if you can get the support to make the system something that allows you to interact with it and make changes more easily without as much technical help. And I'm wondering if that's something that they recommended. I say this from the standpoint of, I think we're in the technology sector, we're seeing that the kind of bars coming down for how technical you have to be to update things depending on what software you're using. Obviously, I don't know anything about ActiveNet, but I'm wondering if the consultants had any recommendations for things that are more self-service, where you don't need someone as technical.
We haven't really asked that question. The one thing that is something that we really wanted to make happen is, the city has its own financial system, Munis, and ActiveNet is also another financial system. So we wanted it to interface so we don't have to do double entries of, money, revenue that's received and some other processes. And so Finance Department is now really, really interested in making that happen. And I know IT at some point will help us because it has to integrate with the city's current financial system. And we were working with someone from IT years ago, but he retired, and IT themselves are so strapped for staffing themselves. So it's hard to have someone's full support. Yes, they will help us for little things here and there, but most of the work is directed by the ActiveNet consultants because they work with so many different agencies and they know where the need is. And then we also reach out to different agencies to see how they make things work. So yeah, we'd like to do that, but I don't know how many things are there that could be done without anybody behind the work itself.
Got it. I don't know a lot about it, so I could go off about it, but I probably should not. So, but good luck on that. Hopefully we find a good solution for you guys.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is it set up like a calendar? I mean, so like, because you've got on here, unavailable during BTA summer camp. Those kind of things where you can black out. If you look at anybody's, there's a calendar and it says, okay, it's available.
It will be.
Okay.
Once it's done, that's
right.
what it's going to look like. So when we have like regular programming for that matter, and it's not available for anyone to reserve, that time frame will be blocked off. So it will become like a calendar.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to do it. It makes most sense for everybody. Oh, yeah, that works.
So I'm familiar with the facilities application process. Question 1, for tennis courts, so you have to do the full form for tennis courts. Do you require general liability insurance?
Yes. Every facility rental requires a general liability insurance.
To rent one tennis court?
Yes.
Wow. And I mean, I'm not talking about organizations, I'm talking about individuals, right?
Even individuals, yes.
That's wild. So thank you for thank you for that, because that is, I mean, that's a burden, a huge burden for a lot of people. Question number 2, ideally, you're going to have a public calendar, right? So we know what's booked at one time, because that is hugely helpful. WCCUSD uses Facilitron, and it's kind of finicky, but generally being able to see a public calendar is really helpful. Okay, so there's no goal for when you're going to have that up and running?
We like I said, we are just starting, and so we just had one meeting last week. We have another meeting tomorrow, and after that, we have to determine, the homework that was given to us, how we're going to finish that, because, summer registrations are coming up, and all this crazy busy season is coming up. So in between, we will try to do little phases at a time to see how quickly we can get that done. And if you know of any interns, any IT interns that we could hire, because we can't hire full-time staff. We don't have the authority to do that, but part-time staff we can hire. So if you know of somebody who's good with that, please refer them to us, because we wouldn't mind the help. And then going back to your question about insurance, pickleball was supposed to be handled the same way, but the prior registration staff, they continually talked and researched to see how we could make it work. So what ended up being was they could go and reserve the court with signing a waiver online and not having to provide insurance. So that was a workaround for us. And so at some point, we could do the same with tennis, but it's going to take a while for us to get there.
So if you ever do like beta testing, let me know. If there's any opportunity for the community to support with testing out the system or whatever, let me know. And
Thank
obviously
you.
us know. But yeah, I think moving online is the right step. I think we're a little bit behind on that, but I think it's going to help a lot, especially with short staffing. It's going to
Yeah.
help ease things a lot. I know the last few months, sending in paper applications, responses have been more delayed. There's been, you know, inconsistent communication about things. So I'm looking forward to having technology help ease the load and make things more expedient.
For the simple things, yes. And I do want to mention that our master fee schedule is up for review right now. And I am trying to propose some new fees. However, I understand that there's a consultant that's hired to talk to each department as far as their fees go. So there's going to be an even bigger survey and discussion regarding our fees. But some of the simple ones, I am going to propose to make some changes for this for the upcoming fiscal year.
I may know someone for your tech IT role, a part-time person, so we can talk offline about it, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I offer my help.
Okay. Thank you.
I was going to suggest contact UC Berkeley,
Yeah.
their work-study program, and they don't start again until July 1st,
Yeah.
but yeah, they,
That's still helpful because the funding is in next year's budget anyways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about YouthWorks. Try YouthWorks too. I don't know. But
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Berkeley, we've had very good luck with IT from Berkeley, that's for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't have anything else. Go ahead.
One more question.
For the master fee schedule, I guess I'm unfamiliar with the process. Who is the ultimate decider on that? Is that the city council, and is there a deadline or a rough estimate of when that will be decided?
It's initiated by the finance department, and yes, city council is the final approver of that.
And on that note, since we don't have a presentation, I was wondering if Vice Mayor Robinson would like to come up and speak to us for a moment.
Thank you, Tiffany. You're done.
Hello. How's everybody doing? So a lot of things came up. I wanted to address a couple of things that came up in the discussion here. One of them was the Parks Master Plan, and that has been an issue that we've talked about for a while. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that was really clear to everybody is that there's a huge transition happening within Public Works and Recreation. Lots of new people coming on board, lots of new systems trying to be put into place, massive assessments, facilities, parks assessments, tons of work being done to kind of try to get a lay of the land, like what's going on with our parks, what's going on with our things, creating new systems. I mean, I think that Jason's group, you guys are working on the sidewalk ordinance, you're working on the tree ordinance, you're working on, so there's a number of different things that are moving. And when we looked at the Parks Master Plan, there were so many things that were recommended before that are not done. And so we thought that it would be best to give time for this restructuring to happen so that they can focus on that, because when you do a Parks Master Plan, it takes a lot of energy and time, and there's community meetings, and it takes a lot of staff time and all these things. So we were like, let's let this restructuring happen. Let's staff up. We've been hiring lots of people to fill vacancies so that we have more capacity. And let's focus on trying to do some of the things that were already identified in the Parks Master Plan that we haven't done, like build more soccer fields, like, do a number of different things. And so that's been the kind of consistent direction from City Council, is like we're looking at the holes, the things that haven't been done, while folks are getting the department kind of aligned and kind of a new day in the Public Works Department, bringing on tree crews, bringing on all these things, tree inventory. And then I think that once we have things kind of settled out and the whole program's approach that Daniel Chavarria wants to put forward is kind of starting to move, then I think we'll be in a really good place to create a new master plan. Because we won't have so much moving. There's so much moving right now. And one of the things that I think we get in trouble with is we try to do everything all at once. And then we can only move incrementally, like push tiny bit, because we're pushing everything. And then, people are like, why isn't this getting done? Why isn't this getting done? And it's because we're trying to push 100 things at once instead of trying to push 20. Let's get the 20 things done, have it be a good foundation. We already have identified projects that we know need to get done because they were in the master plan already and they haven't been done. And so let's pursue that until we get a foundation in place, and then we can make a new master plan. Also, master plans are very expensive, and we could be using that money to actually finish some of the projects that we've already identified, instead of making plan after plan after plan that we don't fulfill on. That's one of the things that I've noticed when I came into City Council, is that we have so many plans and very little progress on the plans. So it's like, do we really need a new plan, or do we need to make some progress before we create yet another $500,000 plan? So I just wanted to put that out there. That continues to be my position. I think we're making such good progress. You see so many. So I personally see from the time where I wasn't on council till now how much faster things move, how much things people, the folks are on it. We've got great people in place. Let's support them. Let's keep going in that right direction and then come back to that. So that's that. I was just also excited about, the updates with Borman. There's some things we're trying to work out to make sure that can keep moving forward. The updates with Wendell, the updates with Shields Reed. I was also out with the Pullman Neighborhood Council. For people who might not know, Pullman doesn't have any parks in their neighborhood. And so we were out looking at a vacant lot that's over on South 27th Street and in Florida. And they're very interested in the possibility of exploring and developing that site, and trying to find some information. So I'm working with Lena and others just to see what's going on there, what's its history, who owns it, things like that. Because it's Pullman neighborhood is one of the densest neighborhoods in terms of people, and it's also a neighborhood that has some of the most kids in the city, and they have no parks. It's all concrete and houses. There's no place to play. And so for me, that's a real high priority. Like that to me is a huge inequity and that we need to address. And it's Miss Naomi has been saying this for decades that they don't have a park. And it hasn't been something that has raised. The site that they're looking at wouldn't be a huge park. It'd be more like a community, like a smaller kind of neighborhood level park. But they have a lot of dreams for it to give kind of honor to the Pullman history, and you make sure that that history is incorporated into the design of the park, and that there's activities for folks, and there's things for little kids and whatnot. So I wanted to bring that to the attention of this committee as well. And yeah, I think that's what I have. And is there any questions?
I'm kind of glad that Pullman, that there's another look here, because we used to always say there on Carlson was the only place that vacant lot that they had. And then that's been, somebody's going to build, somebody's not going to build, somebody's going to, so it does that a lot. Yeah. But yeah, they constantly, we don't have a park. And they're, pretty much surrounded by busy streets. So that's another part of the issue that kind of goes on. So that's exciting to hear that they're looking at something else over there.
Yeah.
fun stuff and like that. They should ask Judy to help with the design.
Yeah, they already actually are in communication with Tootie about it. So
Yeah,
wondering
I
if she
mean-
can partner with them on bringing it to being. So, yep.
Definitely, I was thinking, like, as you probably noted, I was thinking a lot about the master plan before this, so I might, is it all right if I ask a few questions on that?
Sure.
So I think there's good context to add kind of all the other things that are going on, and obviously, I will note, I've never been part of a master plan process, so I'm gonna trust your guidance. I think I have some questions on that front, though, just because I think my concerns are probably that because it's so outdated, I don't know how it's guiding our decisions, and I guess I have concerns about that. And I'll just add, I think the reason I started thinking about it more was in the context of realizing that we also just, I think, what was it, like with last year, we struck a deal with Chevron that would kind of give us more money, give the city more money, right, for the next 6 years or something?
10.
10 years? 10 years. And by 2030, we would be 5 years into that. And so I think for me, I was looking at it as like kind of a missed opportunity, right, to take advantage of potential, right, funding. And obviously, there's needs for funding today, but is it being, I guess what I don't know is it being funded to the right things, and it's hard to assess that. I've only been here for 4 months. But I guess I'd be curious to hear kind of your thoughts on a few fronts. And then I guess with it also, I have a request for Jason, which is maybe in our next meeting, we can go over the remaining checklist of the master plan, that if we are using any sort of checklist from that master plan, what is it? I think it'd be helpful for us to kind of see what that is. And then, but yeah, I guess my question for you would be, I know 2030 was the timeline that was maybe thrown out prior to this, or that would be the next scheduled review of it. If it were up to you and you could wave a magic wand, when would you want us to do this?
So I'm going to say a few more words about my experience with master plans is that they're not a quick process, and they take a lot of resources and a lot of staff time, and they're expensive. So, correct me if I'm wrong, staff, but it's usually like a year and a half to 2 year process to do a new master plan. And they usually cost from $300,000 to $500,000 to do. And the city is the same city with the same parks. And so some of those things, not everything, some things may be outdated in the plan, but many of those things are the same problems and the same issues that we still need to address. We have not only the things that are listed in the master plan that we need to address, but we have a long list of 63 plus CIP projects, many of which are parks projects that we need to address. You all have brought to light many issues that you have found in the parks that we need to address, like the flooding at the play lot and like other things. We have plenty of things to work on. We also have this whole matrix that we've made in order to kind of categorize and rank projects according to a whole number of different things, from readiness to equity to, whether or not there's a legal issue and whatnot, to help us prioritize projects, because there's a number of different things that you need to consider when you're trying to allocate money, and we don't have money for everything all at once. So I feel like we have plenty of work, like plenty. We have a way to prioritize it. Like I said, we're in the middle of this massive restructuring. So to put on top of that a process that would take us a ton of staff time, a ton of energy, and money, when we already have all this work and we haven't finished the things from the plan before, it just doesn't make sense to me. It seems like a trap you fall into because as government, you're supposed to have these plans and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know that that is effective.
Well, it almost sounds like we're using a different system to decide I guess in theory, the master plan is there to help decide priorities. But sounds like there's a matrix that you're using instead.
That matrix is generally used for CIP projects, not just parks,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So the parks, and they overlap and they complement. The things are, the same things are in both, you know?
Right.
And some, some more things are in the other one, but
Right.
not all. I just, the question that you have to ask yourself is, we only got 24 hours in a day. We only have so much staff. Something will have to stop.
Yeah.
Probably lots of things will have to stop in order to create a new plan. That plan doesn't accomplish things. It just lays out a plan. And we don't actually have our ducks in a row so that our staff is in a position to actually be their best to accomplish things. So do you want our staff who are kind of half ready to stop what they're doing and focus on this and stop a bunch of things that we're moving forward to focus on this? Because that could be your recommendation, Or do you want to get in a better position where our staff are better able to take on things, we're more kind of focused, and then we take it on? So I personally would wait and get advice from the staff when they feel like they're in a position to take it on. I wouldn't say that we're going to drop doing master plans. That's not what I want to do. I want to be in a position where our staff are able to actually be, staffed up enough, have the systems in place so that when we make another master plan, we can actually accomplish everything that's recommended within the 10 years. And I don't think we were set up to do that at all from the last master plan, just because of kind of painful staffing and organizational issues,
Thank you for your feedback. For those who are really new to the commission, we did have it set up where we were getting information, getting feedback on what has been addressed that was on the plan, and we haven't gotten any updates recently, so it would be reasonable to me and to many people in the community that we keep getting updates on what has been taken care of, so we know the dates. There's some things that were listed said, should be fixed, and maybe they did get fixed, but they got fixed 5 years ago, so maybe it needs to be repaired again. At least this way, we don't feel like we're shooting in the dark. What are we doing here? As long as we have communication going on that's accurate, and as we go around and we look at the different locations, we can verify, yep, okay, yeah, I see that there is that difference, and we're able to have it documented that, okay, this got taken care of, and does it need to be taken care of again? Maybe not right now, but we can move on to something else. At least this way, we as commissioners can report back to our neighborhood councils and the like as to what has been going on, what has happened, and what's next on the plan if you share that with us. I fully understand about lower staffing and that this is time consuming to do, but we only meet once a month. So the highlights that we get, it at least we'll be able to say that that's happening, because I like to think of this as a partnership, us with staff as well as with the council.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that having
I
a clear
just-
list where you have all of the projects that you guys are tracking and you're keeping accountability and making progress is great.
I think one of the things that sometimes people forget is now that we brought on new public works and all of these new people, Daniel Chevarria comes to city council and says, I need $100 million a year for the next 10 years to get all that deferred maintenance taken care of. That right there is enough to make you go, what? I mean, not to me, because I know about the deferred maintenance in this city, but that's something that we have to, parks, I know there's deferred maintenance there. They're trying to, everybody in those departments are trying to find a way to get all this to work and do it as efficiently as possible. So that's where a lot of it comes in, and we don't want to overload them any more than they already are at this point in time.
Can I say one other thing too? There's some really, for me, really inspiring work that's happening with, again, I'm going to say it, the Park Equity Project, because a part of that project is to kind of, spend some time thinking about maintenance, thinking about the levels of maintenance, thinking about what is it that is the kind of regular maintenance that needs to be done, and what is the standard that we should have as a city for all of our general fund parks around that regular maintenance. And then what is the kind of periodic annual or kind of every 5 years maintenance? And then what do we need in terms of kind of bigger CIP, capital improvement projects? And then how do we fund each of those things? So there's a subcommittee that's just looking at how do we bring more maintenance funding to the city, which isn't these state grants because they don't allow for maintenance. So there's a whole subcommittee of people, interested parties, including Tootie and other people and Trust for Public Land folks who are trying to figure that out, like, is this a bond? Is this what kinds of things have other cities done? How do we increase that maintenance budget so that we can actually have the kind of standard of maintenance that residents actually expect, but we don't have the funds to support currently? And so I feel like there's some projects that are moving right now like that, like the parks assessment, the facilities assessment, that are actually going to put us in a really good position to be smarter about the way we are taking care of our parks, our assets, to actually, bring some more money into the equation so we can be more effective, because you can have all the best plans in the world, but you have no money. All you have is a plan, the dusty document. So I just wanted to bring that up to you, just to remind people that there's some really, really exciting things that are moving.
Go ahead.
So if we were to try to stay on track for the 2030 goal, do you think staff could use the next year or two to get caught up and then spend 2029, 2030 developing the master plan? Do you think 2 years is enough time to get staff caught up to a place where they are a well-oiled enough machine that we could begin the master park process?
I mean, I would hope so, and I would defer to staff because they understand their workload way better than I do. Like, I have a little bit of a view in it because I'm approving things, I'm pushing for things, whatever.
Sure.
But they understand better. So what I want to do is hear from them, and to give them the, a bit of, not infinite leeway. We're not going to be in 2050 here trying to do this, but follow their lead. I think that they would want a good, master plan as well. Nobody doesn't want to update the master plan, but when and how do we do it so that we're most effective as an organism, as an organization? I would love to follow their lead on that. Don't leave them unaccountable, but follow their lead.
And then just one quick question about the Pullman Neighborhood Council. Have you had discussions about joint use agreements at Dijon? And the reason I mention that is WCCUSD has a special assessment district fee that is specifically for recreational access. So there is a fund over $5 million every year that WCCUSD gets for recreational enhancements to public schools for public access. So Dijon has fields and now it has a playground. Is there an ability for the neighborhood council to activate a joint use agreement to be able to create after-school playground space or something with Dijon? Because that's the only school that I see that has that kind of facility.
Yeah. So I would say that, of course, that's possible, and the majority of Pullman is on the other side of a very fast and dangerous road where we have the most fatalities in the city, Carlson. And what they want and what they're looking for is where most people live, which is not over by Dijon, because that's a very tiny little chunk of the neighborhood council with just a couple of streets. Most of the streets of the council are on, kind of a butt Carlson going back, towards, was that 37th Street?
Yeah.
And they want it in that area so that kids can walk to the
Yeah.
park. And they're not going to be crossing Carlson in order to go, to DeJean, like that, Carlson and 30, it's like, that's
Yeah.
far.
Sure, no,
They
it
want a
is, it
neighborhood
is.
park.
But we just talked about staffing capacity issues, and we're discussing adding a new park.
Yeah,
So there's
because sometimes you have a situation where there's been a grave injustice for decades, and it needs to be addressed. We're doing a similar thing with Parchester Village. They've been flooding for 50 years. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And so sometimes some things rise to the occasion where you need to address it. And there's no reason, no good reason why that has not already been addressed.
Yeah, especially because you're talking about vacant land, right?
Yeah, it's a vacant lot that has a bunch of other problems that are happening there because folks aren't using it.
Yep.
So there you go. This is a situation where you have a bunch of neighbor support. It's within walking distance. It's in a dense neighborhood with tons of kids. They've been asking for it for years. We're going to investigate. And, again, the way that usually these kinds of things move forward is that you have a really, energized community group that will go out. They'll do a lot of work. They'll work with Pogo Park. They'll bring in their own funding, in order to get this kind of thing done with the support of city staff. And it takes years. They start this project. They've been talking about it for years. It will take years. It will not happen in 1 or 2 years. It will take years. So in order to start a journey, you got to start today. And so gathering the information, starting the journey is a part of the process. And I feel like there's no reason to not start that journey.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming. It's Commissioner Liaison reports. We don't have any.
Well, actually,
You've got me confused. I'm sorry.
I'd like to, we haven't heard about our tool lending library for a little while, so I look forward to getting a report on what's going on with that and how the expansion is for the mobile one.
I can ask Stephanie to attend the next meeting and do a presentation on that, or she could send one of her staff to provide the update.
Yeah, sending one
Thank
from
you.
staff would probably be a good idea.
Yeah,
Ms. Stephanie.
thank you.
I think that most of the tool lending library, the mobile one, if I'm correct, is just in Shields Reed?
North Richmond area.
Right, as I understand, that's where they got started, but I know that it's supposed to get expanded.
Yeah, at this point. Last I heard from Stephanie, it hadn't expanded. Go ahead.
I believe it was Stephanie who I talked to a couple meetings ago, and she said that they are going to be doing some kind of assessment after, I think, a year. I know you all have done the new changes to the tool library, so I had asked when your team had done that assessment, if that could be shared with us. But I think that would still be several months away. Just sharing that we should be getting something like that in a few months.
She has data. I'm sure she'll be able to share that at the next meeting, or her staff will.
Back on commissioner reports, or was there a action item that you were looking for in particular? Joey was just that, okay, I was lost for a minute. What else is happening? I don't actually have anything. Y'all know I've been watching the park, and I'm gonna have to go check out Borman now because I was here when they first Gonna start that, and it's been a long, long time now that you say that, so I'll have to go back and check that out. Vice Chair Torres, do you have a report?
I have a few things. So earlier this month, a high school kid reached out to me regarding the city manager report and said, I'm really concerned about the proposed field lining at Shields Reed for the soccer field. I'm not the only one who's soccer crazy here, guys. So this kid reached out to me about it and said, hey, I'm a ref, I'm a player, and I think that the field lining design is a problem. I said, okay, well, I got him in touch with Darcy, who's the project manager for Shields Reed Field. And it turns out, in email conversations, it turns out that the field schematics presented in the city manager's report were wrong, and that the actual design proposal is fine. He was like, oh, well, this isn't what I saw in the city manager's report. What you showed me here and what's going to be, I guess they're painting it this week, next, maybe after the rain stops. But the field is supposed to get lined very, very soon. And so that's why we kind of pushed to get Darcy to talk. And it turns out it was just what was published is different than what is being built. So that's the good news. Last meeting, we kind of discussed the unpermitted adult soccer teams at Nickel Park. So based on my research, this is an adult tournament based on like Easter. It's an Easter tournament. So every Sunday in Lent, they have a game. And so they had their final on March 14th. And I mean, this stuff's all over the internet in Spanish, but it's all over the internet. So Little League's folks contacted me, Richmond Little League folks reached out to me and said, hey, this is happening again. This weekend, there's another tournament coming here. And we already discussed what happens, broken glass, beer bottles, feces. They have a whole food set up there, you know. They bring their own lawnmowers with a 24-pack and go and do the grass. So we knew, they called staff ahead. The appropriate city staff were notified. From what we were told, city staff did call the police, but nobody showed. Okay? So there was no enforcement. Again, we went through all the proper channels. Everybody was informed. Nobody did anything. Okay? Keep that in mind. Okay? So I'm also, part of my club is we are moving forward with a proposal for the vacant lots on McDonald and 12th Avenue called the McDonald Mini Field Project. Earlier, I had a meeting with staff who told me that, oh, well, you can't be cleaning up these lots. It's not safe. They're public land, but you can't be on there. And so McDonald, this particular lot has 2 vacant lots, a vacant garage, and a parking lot. And what we're proposing is a no-cost temporary land use activation for soccer programs, which would be funded and maintained by a nonprofit organization. And this model this is used in other places. It's very successful in other cities. My primary example being Alameda, city of Alameda. If anyone knows the Lexington fields in Alameda Point, those are a no-cost temporary land use activation that's existed since 2012. And it's been so successful that they've actually expanded on that agreement, and they've activated more vacant land in Alameda for soccer. So our proposal is similar to that. Use vacant land, kind of like what the Pullman Neighborhood Council is suggesting. Use vacant land for a temporary well, maybe for Pullman it could be permanent, that'd be great, but for temporary use. And so I just wanted to highlight here in this committee the conflicting messages I'm receiving, which is, on the one hand, go through the proper channels, report who you need to report to, because obviously this is damaging and harmful to our children. And on the other hand, you have people actually cleaning and making the effort to improve public land and then being scolded for that. So it's really hard for some of us to reconcile these when, ultimately the goal is to activate sites, to be a part of the community. I wanted to highlight that because, we see a lot of examples where there's just really no enforcement. But then there is enforcement selectively. The last thing I wanted to say, which I'm really looking forward to because I ain't burnt out, your girl is done. I'm taking a trip to London. My husband and I, as club directors, were invited to a tour of the various soccer clubs in London to explore professional, youth, amateur, community clubs. And obviously in London, it's a whole vibe, it's a whole culture, it's baked into the lives of the English. And so we're getting a unique experience to see how they operate,
what their funding mechanisms look like, what kind of engagements they have, so that we can bring that to our communities and try to improve our programs and improve access. So when I come back, I will have had my first afternoon tea in London. I will have watched some Premier League games. And hopefully I'll be able to share some of what I've learned about how they model their youth and adult programs out there. Yeah, thank you. That's it for me.
Commissioner Jen? Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, I submitted some pictures of Tiller Park. Here we go. The garbage on the Ventura access continues to be a real big problem. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely not park garbage. It just kind of bums me out. Just advocate again for some enclosed garbage of some kind or something. This one in particular is the real problem. Yeah, and then the handrail's so close, guys. I don't know what's going on. The top looked like it had some movement, and then it's just been stalled out. So I don't know what's happening there, but yeah.
So speaking with the Carpenter unit, the capacity for them to be able to finish the project is just, they don't have the time for it. So I'm going to bring in a contractor to finish the work, and so I'm meeting with them on Friday to kind of nail down all of the scope of it, and we'll get that moving forward. And then as of today, those trash cans should be switched out.
Somebody had a really fun time on the shaky bridge at the playground there. But looking at some of the other links, I mean, they all look like they're going to yield pretty soon here. So those were the worst offenders that I saw, and this is on the other side of the shaky bridge. But this playground gets a lot of use. And the reason I'm talking about it now is that I know at Rain Cloud Park, that park has been, or that playground has been at commission for a long time. And it'd be a real bummer if this one sort of suffers the same fate where we're just waiting for some parks and then the whole playground doesn't get used. So this actually does see quite a bit of use from a lot of little kids. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, so we've removed the bridge and we've secured both sides, and then we currently have a quote here, and that's getting pushed forward for purchasing to get a new bridge put on there.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ronnie?
Just some appreciations. I went to the egg hunt and seemed like a good turnout, so thank you all for that. You mentioned Carlson Lighting. I know I live south of the 80 overpass, and people are really appreciative of some of the work that's been done to allow people to cross the street. I'll say that I used to have to walk my kids from preschool across there, and so it's literally life-saving, I feel. And one thing I wanted to bring up earlier, we're talking about master plan and whatnot, and I think we've talked about the park assignments before. I also know that we used to have ad hoc committees, which were paused. Okay, is this something that we're going to discuss? Okay, then I will yield my time so we can get to that. Thank you.
It's not really a discussion. You get to pick yours, that's all. Okay. Not too hard. Commissioner Rogers?
I mean, I don't have anything to report. I do have agenda items that I'd like to propose for next meeting. Is this the time to do that?
Not yet.
Okay, then I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Smith? Oops, Commissioner Smith, I'm sorry, I'm losing it.
No, you still got it. It's all right. In my go-rounds, I have noticed that we're getting a little less dumping over in the Santa Fe area. So that's encouraging. Either that or it's being picked up sooner. One of the two. I haven't, seen it sitting around all the time. Oh, at Civic Center here, awesome, per usual. I've noticed that, I don't know if it's because of weather or what, and of course, during rain, maybe not, but haven't seen as many folks just hanging out at Nevin, and I've seen more children playing, so that's a good thing. Yeah. That's, yeah, 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 yeah.
I was going to
That-
say,
that-
yeah.
That is, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. As well as it seems as though our big bellies are being appreciated and, not as many being vandalized or damaged. Either that or you all have been getting to them before I get a chance to see them. So I've got positive reports for that. Oh, and one more thing. I got a tree last year in front of my house, and it looked like it was struggling a little bit. I tried giving it water down underneath, and I had to go out of the area to take care of a family member. During that heavy rain, when I came back, that tree is doing wonderful. So I'm feeling very happy about it because it grew taller and way more branches and leaves than I anticipated, and I didn't ask anybody to take care of it while I was gone. So if any of you are so inclined, we do have a program here that you can get a young tree put in front of your house, in the sidewalk area, and it's worth it. It really is, because the way things are around here, we really need the plants and vegetation to provide us oxygen and help take away a lot of the pollution. That's all for now. Thank you.
Commissioner Gomez, do you have anything you would like to say?
This was a lot. I had for parks, I guess, Parks and Recs. Is there a tracker of who has access to the parks? Specifically for Tiller, because I know it's very close to where I live, and I've never seen any kids play baseball around there. So I'm just curious how.
When
what
baseball season comes around, then we do get requests for that particular park.
Okay.
A lot of the parks are reserved by Little League. They are our first priority, and if they do not have a need for that park, then it's issued to the next person in line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we are agenda setting for the next meeting and future topics. Commissioner Rogers, go ahead. I have my pen ready.
Thank you. I want to reiterate, but I'd love for Jason and your team to present the master plan checklist, that whatever we're leveraging as our checklist, plus whatever we're taking from the master plan checklist. I'd love to get an overall presentation of that. I know it's probably a fluid, ever-changing thing, but just get a sense of maybe what the longer-term projects are, and if how you guys are prioritizing things. It'd be helpful to see what's kind of directing our priorities these days. That would be one. I would also like to propose that we add to the agenda for next one that discussion around the MOU with the pickleball group for servicing the courts. So that'd be another one. I also would like to, so I was reflecting on the last few meetings, and it seems like we have kind of continually had this conversation around abatement issues on the weekend, which sounds like it's a scheduling issue because we don't have abatement staff on the weekend. And I would like to formalize a discussion around staff coverage for weekends and just get to understand that a little bit more, see if there's anything that we could change, different staff we can hire, hour adjustments, things that we can look at. It seems like it would make a big difference for how things work in the city at our parks. And then I guess the last one that I have would be just a real quick one. Jan, I know you said just assign yourself to a park for the park assignments. Is this?
That's the park assignment. Just the ones that are in blue are vacant.
Okay.
So
What do you mean they don't have anyone assigned?
They don't have anyone assigned to them.
Okay.
So you can
Great.
write your name, and I will pass it on to
Then it doesn't
Christine,
need
and-
to be an agenda item.
No.
We'll do that.
I said I brought it with me. I even looked for it today because I was like, I know I have that somewhere.
Okay.
So yes, I did include that so you and Vivian both can read it over. There's not a whole lot to choose from, but there is a couple things left, and I think that's about it. I don't know how much of this we will be able to talk about at the next meeting, but we will see what we can. Staff coverage, that's a whole different story I don't want to go to in. I don't want to even go in. I've gotten some help with RPD on some couple of things, like we actually have parking enforcement on weekends, but I don't know how long that's going to last.
But that makes money.
Yes, well, that's the idea.
Revenue generating, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and we do have people that are in the parks when we have events, So it's just, it's hard to teach the city of Richmond that the city doesn't run 8 to 5. The city runs 24/7.
But it sounds like the abatement team doesn't run on the weekend, though.
Correct.
Right. But it sounds like there's a great need for, again, it's come up almost every meeting we've had, that there's issues that are generated on the weekend that could use the abatement team.
Well, abatement as in code enforcement? I mean, graffiti removal or?
All of the above.
A lot, yeah. I mean, it seems like there's been all these things of the big people, big squads of people show up at parks, and then there's certain issues that come from that. And that only happens on the weekends. And it seems like, I don't know, to me it just, I come from HR, I think about staffing a lot. So for me, it became a staffing issue.
Well, Darren can help you there.
Okay.
So there's a lot that goes into that. Obviously, we have our own MOUs and bargaining units with staff, and we have schedules in place, and in order to change those and move, so there are internal discussions, but Jason and I have actually been having this discussion for several weeks, and we're internalizing some things and thoughts that we have for it. Abatement does work on the weekends. Typically, they're doing dumpster days within the neighborhood council areas. But when they're done with that, I send them down the main corridor. So when they finish dumpster days, normally they'll hit Cutting, Carlson, Barrett, McDonald. They'll hit those key corridors to see if there's any major dumping that's happened, and they'll address it. Outside of that, there isn't just full-on abatement pickup on the weekends, but they are there on the weekends. They are present. We don't do graffiti on the weekends unless if it's offensive or gang-related, like that type of thing. We'll call somebody in to address it if it needs. So there is a process in place that if there is dumping in the right-of-way, if it's in a lane, if it's a hazard to pedestrian or vehicle traffic, we do have on-call staff that comes in to take care of those items.
Yeah. I think one of the other examples that I remember coming up is just like garbage overflowing, and then that leads to dumping within the parks, right? So garbage is full because Little League had their regularly scheduled things on Saturday. All the garbages are full. Sunday, people just start throwing stuff all over the place. And to me, that just seems like a systematic problem, right? Like we're never going to solve that unless we have a way of knowing that T-balls on Saturdays or baseballs on Saturdays, we got to clean up after they leave, and then people will throw things in the garbage again.
Mind you, they are paying for permits too.
Right.
So then the question is, what exactly is the permit for? Because that's been one of my questions is, aren't you supposed to be maintaining and servicing the facilities, including trash, right? We show up to, anyways, yeah. I just wanted to chime in there.
Yeah.
That all these programs are paying for access.
Right.
So if I could, to address your point head on, so we have had discussions. There is a gap that we have in service. So park staff, we can go out and when, we can tackle, 100 tasks in parks, and when we walk away, it can be in a good condition, right? It's that downtime when we're not there. We don't have a city presence, maintenance staff presence. So we've identified that, and so we're in conversations. We're discussing it. Like the Vice Mayor said, we have our sleeves rolled up, and we are actively working on a lot of stuff. If I could, Chair, make this proposal. If I could ask additional staff to come in and give a presentation on our current CIP projects. That would be Darcy. And at that same meeting, have Tawfiq give an update and a small presentation on the inventory and condition assessment program. And then the preceding meeting, what I'd like to do is bring in Joseph Munoz, who is our CIP kind of guru, and he will give you an overview. He'll give you an updated list of our active CIPs, the ones that are in the queue, the ones that have been reviewed and rated, the ones that we present to council. And then he'll give you an update of that. So you'll see everything that is on our, it's blips on our radar, right? That's what's forthcoming. That way, for us to review and check off the Parks Master Plan and compare to what's been done that's going to be very burdensome for staff. So I'd rather let's just look at what we know we're working on than what we've already have identified on our short list, if you will. If that's acceptable to you, we can put that in motion.
Yeah, I think that's very acceptable. You have to realize the CIP is about 100 items or more. So just that alone is a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So
focus on parks.
yeah, we could focus. Darcy, well, maybe we should hear it all. It's good to see as much of it as there is,
So if I could, Darcy's presentation would be our active park projects. She would give an update on all of those and go a little bit more into fine detail. So I'm not telling you midsummer of a completion. She'll be able to provide more detail, maybe what has transpired as difficulties or successes or changes that we've had going on. And she could even tell you, if you guys want to know colors and this and that, she can provide you more of details of those things. And then Tawfiq obviously will give his presentation. And then again, the CIP, I think it's good for Joseph. He has this programmatic approach. It's his baby. He has built this. He can explain it well. And I think it's good for you folks to understand the process that we're undertaking that the Vice Mayor had put out of like how we put our net out, how everything develops, and how that whole process goes. Because again, we're not living in a vacuum. We're not making these decisions, and it's important to understand how that process works, how the approval goes, where funding comes from, why some projects are funded. There could be a project that's sitting lower on the list, but it qualifies for a grant, right? And it runs up the line, and it's funded because a grant opportunity came. So Joseph will be able to explain those things more, not next meeting, the following meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, that's a good way for us to move forward and to get a better idea on how it goes and get a better view of the whole situation and kind of move forward on that. I don't think a lot of things we can do about staffing. That's in Darren's and Public Works Director Cheveria's thing. And if it has to do with union, that becomes a whole different thing in life. So, but we can't, I mean, I have people that in my neighborhood that pick up the trash in parks every weekend. I mean, I know someone who goes to Berg every Sunday after church and picks up the garbage. We have seniors who clean up in Solano Play Lot. I mean, there's people that do a lot of things that people don't know about. It happens. And so that's where a lot of it, where it gets to be a place where a garbage can sitting by the side of the road, yep, you're going to get garbage there. We had the one on 26th and Esmond, right by Wendell Park, and we had a side-by-side refrigerator in the street one day. People just piled stuff up. We took the garbage can away. We don't have that problem anymore. Of course, I would like to have a garbage can at the park, but, we're working on it. But I think that's we just need to figure out where we can help the most and make it less.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get into like a formal staff recommendation, but I guess like at a high level, just understand what those limitations are then, because it just seems like there would be, I mean, I could put the question pretty simply even right now, and I don't need you to answer it here, but unless you think it's that simple, but I assume you're hiring staff, right? And if we're working with the union, we can enter an agreement to say that we're hiring certain staff for the weekend, and they're they have a different schedule. And so that's the part where I'm wondering why we don't just do that. And I assume, again, it may take time. I'm not here to make any recommendation, but to offer any expertise or help or guidance on that, I'm happy to do.
So those are the conversations that Jason and I are having so that we can put a proposal together to take to our director, to Daniel, and ask him to walk with us with that process with human resources.
Okay.
Because we do have ideas on what needs to happen. Jason has been working on it for several weeks. We're not bringing on new staff right now for those particular positions, but we're looking to kind of modify some schedules if possible, volunteers, that kind of thing to fill that gap. So It's in the works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I would add, I believe we are making a presentation the 28th in front of council, or to council, and it's going to be an overview of parks and landscaping. It's going to be some of our programming, our program changes. We're going to roll out and let everyone hear our core pillars. And also, I'm going to introduce our levels of service. So I think that would be a great opportunity for you all to tune in if you can and listen to that presentation. I will be covering a little bit of the gaps in service and some of our weaknesses in the areas that we need to dial things up. And all of this goes, and it aligns with what the Vice Mayor said. It's like we know what we're doing now. We know what we have on the short term. And a lot of this is leading up to when these new parks come online. Like we are not scrambling, but we are really looking at our entire program. When those parks come online, how are we going to provide the highest level of service with the resources we have? So we have been putting a lot of revolutions in on this entire topic. So just be patient. We're getting the work done, and it will start to expose itself very soon.
Okay, and with that, I am going to adjourn the meeting at 8:15, and we will be at our next meeting.